If you don't train your mind, the world will train it for you. If you don't choose your thoughts, your habits will. And if you don't lead your life, someone else will. So, ask yourself, are you truly awake or just walking through life asleep? Every single day, people wake up and follow the same routine. Wake, eat, work, sleep, repeat, and they wonder why nothing ever changes. They want success, but they don't choose discipline. They want peace, but they keep feeding their chaos. They want clarity, but never sit with their thoughts. Here is a truth. You will never change your life until you change what you do daily, and that change doesn't begin on the outside. It begins from within. The way you breathe, the way you sit, the way you speak to yourself, the way you react when nobody's watching. These things matter more than you realize. You want a new life, you must give up the old one. Your mind is not just a part of you, it is you. Every decision you make, every emotion you feel, and every belief you carry originates from the mind. Yet, most people walk through life letting their thoughts run wild, never realizing the chaos it causes inside them. They wake up with anxiety, speak with doubt, and sleep with regret. Not because the world is unkind, but because the mind is untrained. You wouldn't give a child a sword and let them run loose. So why allow your untamed mind to direct your life without discipline? The mind has a habit of reacting. A comment from someone triggers anger. A failure breeds self-loathing. A delay in life makes us question our worth. These reactions aren't rooted in truth. They're rooted in old conditioning. And the only way to break free is to observe your mind rather than obey it. Meditation, reflection, and conscious breathing aren't just spiritual practices. They are weapons. They allow you to respond, not react. They allow you to see instead of judge. An untrained mind will always panic in discomfort, but a trained one knows that clarity comes from calm. To train the mind is to build discipline from the inside out. You don't need to sit on a mountaintop to do this. You just need to become aware. Start by noticing your thoughts. Don't fight them. Just watch. See how they rise and fall like waves. Some thoughts are light and pass quickly. Others cling like thorns. But here's the secret. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. And the more you separate your identity from the noise in your head, the more freedom you gain. A disciplined mind does not suppress thought. It transforms it. People often speak of success as something you chase. But success is not a destination. It's a state of mind. You don't become successful and then find peace. You find peace within and success follows. Because when your mind is sharp, focused, and anchored in clarity, you become powerful, not in a loud or aggressive way, but in a silent, unshakable way. People can feel it. Obstacles cannot distract it. And when life throws storms your way, you don't get swept up. You stand firm like a mountain in the wind. Training the mind is not something you do once. It's a daily practice, like sharpening a blade. Skip it, and the blade rusts. Skip it, and your mind becomes reactive, cluttered, chaotic. That's why warriors of discipline begin their day with silence, not distraction. While others scroll through noise, the disciplined listen inward. While others search for validation, the disciplined reaffirm their purpose. This is not about being better than others. It's about not losing yourself to the noise of the world. And in this world, that is the highest form of mastery. So every day when you wake up, ask yourself, is my mind serving me, or am I serving my mind? If you are being dragged by your impulses, you are still a slave. But if you are guiding your thoughts like a master with reins, then you're on the path to freedom. Freedom isn't the absence of difficulty, it's the ability to remain peaceful within it, and that peace doesn't come from outside achievements, it comes from the inside, from a mind that has been sharpened, shaped, and strengthened by conscious effort. The mind is the master, train it, motivation is the spark, but discipline is the firewood. One burns bright for a moment, while the other sustains the flame. People often wait for motivation to strike like lightning, as if one inspiring video, one perfect morning, or one uplifting quote will carry them through years of resistance. But motivation is fleeting. It rises with emotion and disappears with fatigue. Discipline, on the other hand, is emotionless. It does not rely on how you feel, it simply shows up. It is the silent companion that walks with you, even when the path is steep, even when your legs are tired, even when your mind screams not today. Discipline is built in the small, invisible moments. It's choosing to wake up before sunrise while your body pleads for 5 more minutes. It's turning off distractions when your mind craves the quick relief of entertainment. It's practicing repetition, not perfection, but consistent presence in every step. People think discipline is about punishment or force, but true discipline is a form of love. It is the love you give to your future self, the version of you that you haven't met yet, but are becoming. Discipline is not a burden, it is a gift. The disciplined person understands that success is not about intensity, it's about consistency. Anyone can push hard for a day or even a week, but who can keep going when the applause stops? Who can show up when nobody is watching? Who can endure the dull, boring, ordinary parts of the process without quitting? That is discipline. It is not glamorous. It is not loud. It is quiet, repetitive, deliberate. And that's why it's rare. Most people give up not because they're weak, but because they were told motivation would carry them. It won't. Only discipline will. There's a deep peace that comes from discipline. It rewires your brain, sharpens your instincts, and clears your perception. When you become disciplined, you stop chasing, you start building, you stop needing external validation because you've built trust within yourself. You keep promises, you follow through. This changes your entire identity. You stop saying, I want to be, and start saying, I am becoming, and eventually I am. That shift from desire to embodiment is the fruit of disciplined living. It doesn't come overnight, but it comes, and when it does, it changes everything. The problem isn't that people lack potential, it's that they lack the system to activate it. Without discipline, your talent is wasted. Your ideas remain ideas. Your vision never becomes a reality. You can have the best intentions, but without execution, they dissolve into regret. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you're meant to be. You do not rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your discipline. That's why the ancient masters taught routines, rituals, and rhythms. Because when your days are structured with discipline, your spirit is free to grow. So stop asking, how do I feel today? And start asking, what needs to be done today? Let your actions lead your emotions, not the other way around. There will be days when you don't want to move, don't want to speak, don't want to show up. On those days, discipline will carry you, and when it does, you'll remember, motivation may inspire the beginning, but only discipline finishes the race. And every time you choose it, you become stronger, not just in body, but in mind, in spirit, and in identity. Suffering is often misunderstood. Many view it as punishment or misfortune. Others see it as a permanent state, something to be escaped, silenced, or suppressed. But suffering is not the enemy, it is a messenger, a teacher, a signal from deep within that something is misaligned, misunderstood, or in need of attention. And until you stop running from it, you will never hear what it's trying to say. It whispers first, through discomfort, unease, tension. Ignore it long enough and it will scream, but its goal is never to harm you. Its goal is to awaken you. We are conditioned to chase pleasure and avoid pain, but this reflex keeps us shallow. It keeps us fragile. Real growth comes not from comfort, but from facing the discomfort directly. Not all pain is bad. Some pain is necessary. A muscle grows by tearing first. A wound heals only after it's cleaned. The same is true in life. Emotional pain, mental distress, spiritual disconnection, they arise when something inside us is ready to evolve. If you numb it, you delay your evolution. If you listen to it, you accelerate your growth. Suffering is not a dead end. It is a doorway. When you begin to see suffering not as a curse, but as a compass, everything changes. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this showing me?" Maybe your suffering reveals where your attachments lie. Maybe it reveals where you haven't forgiven. Maybe it shows you the limits of your patience, your ego, or your expectations. These aren't weaknesses. They are invitations, invitations to let go, to surrender, to soften, to strengthen. If you avoid suffering, you avoid the lesson. But if you lean in, you discover truth, and truth sets you free. Some suffering is self-created. It comes from resisting reality, from wanting things to be different than they are, from clinging to what has passed or fearing what hasn't yet arrived. This type of suffering isn't caused by life, it's caused by the mind. The mind says, "I can't accept this." And in that moment, pain becomes suffering. But when you shift your awareness and say, "This is difficult, but I accept it," a strange peace begins to emerge. You stop struggling with life and start flowing through it. And in that space, suffering no longer controls you. It guides you. It's important to understand that suffering does not mean weakness. In fact, those who suffer deeply often hold the greatest strength. Because they've been tempered in fire, they've been humbled, softened, stripped of illusions, and what remains is something pure, still, deep. These people carry a quiet power, not the kind that shouts, but the kind that understands. Because when you've walked through darkness and refused to collapse, you carry a light no one can take from you. You don't become fearless. You just learn that fear isn't final, that suffering isn't the end, it's a beginning. So the next time suffering visits you, pause, don't push it away, sit with it, breathe into it. Ask it, "What are you here to show me?" And listen, not with your ears, but with your presence. In that moment, you will begin to see suffering as it truly is, not a sentence handed down by fate, but a sacred signal from within. And if you trust it, if you walk with it, it will not break you, it will build you. So many people are exhausted, not because they're doing too much, but because they're doing too much of what isn't meant for them. They hustle, push, grind, and chase goals that don't resonate with who they are. They live by external standards, success measured in titles, numbers, and praise, but underneath the busy schedule is a tired soul. One that's drained, not from effort, but from misalignment. True energy doesn't come from caffeine or adrenaline. It comes from being in harmony with your values, your purpose, and your truth. Hustle is glorified. It's marketed as the only path to greatness. Work harder, sleep less, want it more. But hustle without direction is noise. It wears you out. It makes you move fast, but in circles. Alignment, on the other hand, is silent power. When you're aligned, you don't have to force your energy. It flows. You're not swimming against the current. You're moving with it. There's less resistance, less doubt, less burnout. Alignment is not laziness. It's intelligent movement. It's doing what matters most in the way that suits you best. The truth is, not all effort is equal. Two people can work for 8 hours. One ends the day inspired. The other feels broken. Why? Because one is aligned, the other is not. When your values match your actions, you feel a quiet joy. Even in hard work, you feel connected to something bigger. But when your actions betray your values, when you're saying yes to what your spirit resists, you lose energy with every task. You don't just get tired, you become resentful. That is the cost of misalignment. So how do you find alignment? You pause, you reflect, you ask deeper questions. What kind of work makes me feel alive? Where do I feel most like myself? Who am I trying to impress, and why? You stop chasing the image of success and start defining success for yourself. You let go of paths that aren't yours, even if they look good on paper. And when you do that, when you stop performing life and start living it, you begin to reclaim your energy. You come home to yourself. Being in alignment doesn't mean life becomes easy. Challenges will come. Discipline is still required. But there's a profound difference. You're no longer fighting yourself. You're no longer pretending to care about things you don't care about. Your actions become sincere. Your schedule becomes sacred. Your choices become conscious. And slowly, you realize energy isn't something you lack. It's something that leaks when you abandon yourself. You don't need to do more. You need to do what's real. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions align, you become unstoppable, not through force, but through focus. You're no longer fragmented. You don't waste energy being two different people, one for the world and one behind closed doors. You become whole. You live from the inside out, and in that wholeness, there is strength. There is clarity. There is peace, not because you've stopped moving, but because you finally started moving in the right direction. In a world addicted to noise, silence has become a forgotten language. From the moment we wake up, we are surrounded by sound notifications, voices, media, thoughts rushing louder than traffic. We are taught to react, to respond, to speak, to fill every gap with something. But in doing so, we lose the most important connection of all, the one with ourselves. Silence is not empty. It is full of answers if you know how to listen, but to hear them, you must stop listening with your ears and start listening with your awareness. Silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's the presence of clarity. It's the moment you pause before reacting, the breath you take before speaking, the stillness between thoughts. In silence, time slows, the fog lifts, and what remains is the raw, unfiltered truth of your inner world. That truth might be uncomfortable. It might reveal pain or doubt or buried fears, but it also reveals insight. Insight into who you really are, into what you really need, into the path that's been calling you all along, waiting for you to quiet down enough to hear it. Most people fear silence because it removes their distractions. It forces them to face what they've been avoiding, but healing begins where distraction ends, and you can't fix what you refuse to feel. When you sit in silence, you confront yourself, not the version you show others, but the one that exists when no one's looking. That's where real transformation happens, not in shouting over your inner world, but in observing it with stillness. Meditation, solitude, long walks without your phone. These aren't luxuries, they are lifelines. Every answer you seek, whether it's about direction, healing, purpose, or peace, it already lives within you. But it's buried under layers of noise, and that noise isn't just external, it's internal too. It's your mental commentary, your assumptions, your unexamined beliefs. Silence gives you the space to separate what's yours from what isn't, to realize that not every thought is true, not every emotion needs a reaction, and not every voice in your head is wise. In silence, you rediscover the one voice that matters most, your own. When you practice silence regularly, you begin to notice subtle shifts. You speak more mindfully. You listen more deeply. You stop interrupting others and yourself. You no longer feel the need to explain everything, to prove anything, or to rush through moments. Instead, you become intentional, thoughtful, clear. Others may not notice this shift right away, but you will feel it in your bones. Silence doesn't make you passive, it makes you precise, and in a world full of noise, that precision becomes your power. So do not fear silence, cultivate it, create it, protect it. Wake up early just to sit with it. End your day by returning to it. Let it wrap around you like a warm blanket, not as an escape from life, but as a return to yourself. Because in silence, you will remember what the noise made you forget. You already have the answers. You've just been too loud to hear them. Many people wander through life searching for purpose, as if it's something hidden, far away, waiting to be discovered in the future. They chase titles, roles, achievements, and even other people, hoping one day something will finally make them feel complete. But purpose is not something you find out there. It's something you realize right here in this moment. The present isn't just where life happens. It's where meaning begins. And if you're not present, you're not living. You're simply existing in a story you're not awake to. We often think purpose is tied to grand goals or lifelong missions. But what if purpose wasn't in what you do, but in how you do it? When you're fully present, even the smallest act becomes meaningful. Drinking tea becomes a ritual. Sweeping the floor becomes a meditation. Listening becomes an offering. Presence gives everything depth. Without it, even success feels shallow. But with it, even stillness becomes powerful. The way you breathe, walk, speak, think, every action becomes intentional. And where there is intention, there is purpose. The mind loves to live in the past or project into the future. It replays old pain. It rehearses possible outcomes. It keeps you busy with what if and someday, while ignoring the only thing that is truly real, now. The present moment is the doorway to peace. It is also the only place you have any control. You can't rewrite the past. You can't skip to the future, but you can choose how you show up now. And every present moment you honor becomes a brick in the foundation of a purposeful life. When you're truly present, clarity arises. You begin to sense what resonates and what doesn't. You notice what gives you energy and what drains it. You stop chasing validation and start choosing alignment. That's when purpose starts to take shape, not as a job title or destination, but as a state of being. A deep, quiet knowing that who you are and what you're doing is in harmony. Purpose becomes less about the future and more about fully engaging with this moment, this breath, this task, this connection, right here. Presence also frees you from comparison. When you're anchored in the now, you stop measuring yourself against timelines and expectations. You stop looking sideways and start looking inward. You begin to trust that your path is unfolding exactly as it should, not according to someone else's pace, but according to your own rhythm. And in that trust, there is peace. There is fulfillment, not because you've arrived, but because you realize you were never lost. You just weren't here, but now you are. So the next time you feel disconnected or uncertain, don't look outside. Don't try to solve the future. Just return to the moment. Come back to your breath. Feel the ground under your feet. Listen fully. Move slowly. Be where you are not because it's perfect, but because it's real. Because your life is not happening in some distant dream. It's happening here, and this moment is enough. So now you understand. Your mind must be trained. Your discipline must lead. Your suffering must be heard. Your energy must be protected. Your silence must be honored, and your presence must be lived. This is not a speech to inspire you for a few hours. It is a reminder, a practice, a way of life. You don't need to change your entire world overnight. You just need to return, again and again, to this moment, to this breath, to this choice. Transformation doesn't happen with noise. It begins in stillness. It begins in awareness. And most of all, it begins with you. So if you truly want to change your life, watch this again, every day, until your soul remembers what the world made you forget. You were never waiting for power. You were always learning how to remember it.